Now, here's an interesting perspective on that, because as a former member of the sarcastic community, I'd like to. Now, with you making a sarcastic joke,
I think that was a communication block, y'all. Whoa. Hey, y'all, it's your girl Nadia.
And it's me, Coach T.
And we are Two Average People.
Yes, we are.
Thank you for tuning in with us every week and listening to what we have to say. We don't have all the answers, but we definitely have been married for some time, and we want to walk this journey with you guys, share what we've been doing. So thank you for all of your support.
I think we have 51 followers now.
Hey!
Yeah, we're doing something.
We're getting there, y'all.
We're up on the way.
This is going to be a little different because I came across an article the other day on blocks in communication.
Blocks and communication, right? I think we talked about that on our social media. We kind of
talked about it on our social media, but we never really talked through this all the way through. So I have the article here, and I'm kind of going to go through, and I just want us to kind of talk about it today.
Sure.
We're just going to have a discussion today, y'all.
Let's talk about it.
No preaching today.
No. Let's just talk about it.
So, well, as you know, we'll put the link in the comment section. But I wanted to go through and talk about this. So this is a person who experienced certain blocks in communication. And I kind of skimmed through the article, and I realized that some of the things that she mentioned were blocks in communication were things that we may have said to each other that
definitely I
didn't realize could be blocks in communication. But when I think back, I was like, actually, I can understand how that could be a block in communication.
You can see it that way, right? Okay, all right.
We'll go through. All right. So the first one that they have is called name calling.
Name calling. Okay.
This is when the listener places a label on the person talking. Communication is blocked. Okay. So in this example, this person used a headache as an example, right?
So the block would be the headache.
The block would be the headache.
Okay.
Right? And so name calling would be, I think you're being dramatic.
Name calling would be, I think you. Okay. All right. Yeah, because now you're calling this person dramatic for having a headache, which, it's perfectly reasonable. People have headaches.
Right. Right. And so a lot of the time where I think you're being, that person may trying to be truthful, or they're like, oh, it's just a headache, like, you'll be fine. It comes out, hey, you're being dramatic, calm down. The other person hears it as, okay, you're just kind of dismissing what I'm trying to tell you I'm feeling.
Right. Now, here's an interesting perspective on that, because as a former member of the sarcastic community, I'd like to. Now, with you making a sarcastic joke,
I think that was a communication block, y'all. Whoa. I'm sorry.
That was good. That was good.
I'm sorry.
That was good. I gotta give respect. All right, cool. Yes, my thought process is I would say something like that, but it'd be completely joking. I wouldn't say it for real, and I would be completely apologetic if it was like, "Oh, my bad. You actually have like a really. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to." But,
which is really true, because like 9 times out of 10, when I tell him I'm not feeling well, he will like downplay it. He'll be like, yeah, like he won't be like, oh yeah, you're fine. But he'll be like, oh yeah, like if I'm like, babe, my throat hurts, like I really don't feel right. He'll be like, oh, it's just allergies. I think you're fine. And it's like, but what if I'm not?
See, she said, see how she put this narrative? Y'all see what she did, right? She said he just downplayed it. What she didn't say was he'd be right though. That's what she didn't say. She left that part out.
But not necessarily. But it's like, for me, sometimes it's like, okay, yeah, you might be right, but is that it? Right? Like, is it only, it's just allergies? Because I feel like you say that because you don't want me to worry, or you don't want me to go off on a spiral of what the sore throat is.
I can see that. I understand that.
I understand that, but at the same time, I don't always want you to downplay it.
It's not so much that at least I don't want it to make it seem like I'm downplaying it, but my thought process is to just be very systematic about health issues. Because health issues do bring on so much anxiety. My thought process is, all right, well, before this spirals, because it can spiral quickly, let's go ahead and get a handle on it. Let's understand what we're dealing with, and let's just take it from square one to step 2, 3, 4, 5, until we get to some sort of resolution.
Okay.
That's the only thing I'm thinking.
I
because
understand.
health, especially when it comes to like London's health, we both tend to just be like, oh my
There's
God,
no
the
rationality
world
in
is
that.
over.
Yeah.
No, take me, Jesus. But
Yeah, it for real.
and be like, but I just scraped my knee. I'm fine.
I'm a nurse, and there's no rationality in London getting any kind of health.
That's all I'm saying. Is I don't want to go systematically. I just want to go step by step. Let's keep going.
All right. So the next one they have is diverting. Diverting. This is when the listener flips the conversation to another topic or more often another subject. I know a lot of people that do this. So in the case of the headache, as this person has used, or the example they use, they said that the block would be, well, I actually have a headache too. And then they start talking about themselves. That I know a lot of people that do that, and I know that I do that too. Honestly, thinking back, it's very easy that when someone is talking to you about their problems or their life, or or you're in this case like relationship, you're talking to your spouse, they're like, yeah, I know that happened to me too, and this is what I did, and now the whole conversation has flipped to them.
And the thing is, for the people you love, you generally are okay with that. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but maybe the 100th time when you've really been trying to get your point out might be kind of frustrating. So at this point, you haven't been able to get what you're trying to get out at all, because it always tends to be somebody else's issue that has to take the forefront.
Yeah.
I can see how that would be.
I have noticed this as a communication block with some of my friends. I tend to not talk about myself as much, just because I feel like sometimes when people are talking to me, it's like, flip. I don't think they mean it, right? But like, you want to relate and be like, hey girl, I'm with you. I know what you're going through.
Right.
Here's my situation. But I also am like, okay, well, if I feel that way with some of my friends, am I doing this too when my friends come to me?
Ooh.
So it really, I know for this particular one, I really had to like really assess myself when my friend is saying, hey, talking to me or pouring their eyes out to me or whatever about anything, their life. I have to make sure that I'm not saying, well, you know what Tabari and I did, or you know what I did, but
that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes total sense. Okay.
All right, you ready for the next one, babe?
Yeah, let's go.
The next one is fixing. This is when the listener attempts to fix the problem. It takes away from the speaker's need to feel seen and heard. It becomes about the listener's anxiety rather than the speaker's experience.
Listener's anxiety.
It's like,
wow.
Well, did you take ibuprofen? So it's almost like finding a solution. This is really, really interesting, because I feel like a lot of time in relationships, especially with men, they want to find a solution, right? Right, babe? So you come home after a long day, right? And you're like, man, and you know what happened? And this happened and that. And then they're like, solution. And it's like, okay, I don't need a solution. I just need to vent.
I understand. I get that. The problem with this one is, these blocks are really interesting to me because I feel like they get in the way of how normal people go about the world.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
I kind of agree with that.
So like everywhere I go in my entire life, everyone's always asking me to solve their problems. That's how my life goes.
Like, this is real.
This is
really, he's talking about him.
I'm talking about me. Talking about me. Talking about Coach T.
This is actually
This is part of the reason why it's Coach T, because at the end of the day, whole time I'll be coaching folks. I mean, this is what it is. But the point is, if from the minute I get up till we're finally relaxed, relating, and releasing at the end of the night, shout out a different world. Then, like, is it a surprise that when you start to vent that I just go fix? Because that's what I've been doing all day. I've been fixing this problem, fixing that problem, fixing. So by the time you come home and you're like, baby, guess what? This happened and this, and can you believe it? I'm going, I absolutely can't. And this is how you fix it. A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. Congratulations. Bam. High five.
All right. Time for dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's natural, especially with somebody in a relationship with that you love.
Yeah.
To want to provide solutions.
Right? Yeah. And that's really the end all be all.
Hey, baby, let me fix this for you.
You just want to fix it.
Yeah.
I can't go about my day knowing that I fixed everybody's problems and my baby has a problem and I'm not fixing it.
I understand.
That's an untenable situation for me.
I understand that.
But I also recognize that that's all about me. That had nothing to do with what her actual needs were, and I should really be more concerned about those than the first. Game.
Communication block.
Free game.
There you go. All right, let's go on to the next one. The next one is judging. They define this as a distinct judgment call on the other person. So, in the terms of the headache, as the example they're using, you don't drink enough water.
Okay, can I tell y'all? Can I tell y'all?
I am so guilty of this, y'all. I really.
Can I tell y'all?
You can say it, babe. It's fine.
It's not, and you know what?
It's fine.
I love you. I love you.
Okay.
It's just that
I can handle the truth.
It's just that for me, right? For me,
this is not
for me. I came from a very judgmental house, and a lot of the judgment that was levied on me, to my way of thinking, wasn't fair. So, in my opinion, now, like, judging for me is extra triggering. It's that trigger point where the normally calm, collected guy tends to get all defensive. Like, no, what you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I ain't need to do all that? My bad. I'll bring it down. My bad. I'm sorry. It's the judging for me.
Yeah.
It's the judgment for me. Because if I wanted to, especially because I came from that background, I could throw it back. But I know that wouldn't even be me. So, it's...
God.
Yeah.
I can relate, babe, and this may be a communication block. Hey, but I can relate to what you're saying. I feel like a lot of what I was surrounded by growing up was the same thing. That very judgment, like, okay, if something went wrong, you're not doing something right.
It's your fault.
Like, so you shouldn't have a headache ever, because if you do, that means you didn't drink enough water, you didn't eat, you didn't rest, you're stressed, you're that. Okay.
You're also alive, so any one of those things can be true.
Yeah. So
thanks. It doesn't really help at all.
Because I was surrounded by this, this is a big one for me that I have to be mindful of personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's go on to the next one. Preaching. They describe this as when the listener becomes the expert in the speaker's topic. It takes away from the speaker's need to express and feel heard. You don't look after yourself. You need to get more sleep.
Guilty.
It's kind of similar to judging.
Yes, it is.
Right? Because it's saying, hey, you don't do these things, so this is what you need to do.
Yeah.
And that can definitely be a communication block.
Yeah. In my way of thinking, I'm just trying to... I know a little bit on a subject, and I'm like, ooh, I think I can help here. It's more, I think I can help. And so I jump in there trying to help.
Yeah.
And I add a bunch of information that didn't need to be added. Ain't nobody asked my opinion. Nobody told me to even lend it. So I don't know why I jumped out there and decided to give it. But it was from a sense of wanting to help more than just talk down. But in my mind, I'm like, this is so good. And then the person looking at me is seeing this. And so I realize that the best thing I can do in those moments is
Yeah.
Just
All right, y'all. We're gonna have a part 2. There are many more communication blocks. Remember to check out all of our previous videos. Click that like, that subscribe button.
and I want to make sure we jump in here and mention that our book is almost done. The 10 Commandments to Great Communication in Your Relationship. Please be on the lookout for that. It's going to be on its way pretty soon. We're going to have a release date for you very soon. So yeah, just remember, until then, we are better
Together.